What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including AEW Dynamite Disaster. Is Jim Johnston coming back to WWE? Two high-profile wrestlers squash their beef. Sad news for AEW star. The Hurricanes' massive damage. RVD working in WWE and AEW, and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos, and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Also check out our new videos on Wrestlelamia XL. Now let's see the intro and get straight into our first story. Now our first story looks at AEW Dynamite Disaster. Atop of today's news is Dynamite's dreadful ratings from Tuesday night. AEW landed a big money rights deal when it renewed its partnership with Warner Bros. Discovery, but Warner's management may be having buyer's remorse after the ratings came in for Dynamite's battle against NXT on October 8th. Dynamite aired on Tuesday night at 9 PM, and while it only ran 1 hour against the WWE's developmental brand, its ratings were pitiful. Pro Wrestling Torch's Wade Keller is reporting that the 8th October Title Tuesday edition of Dynamite drew 329,000 viewers compared to 680,000 the prior week and the 702,000 the week before that. The prior 10-week rolling average before this week was 677,000. This is Dynamite's lowest rating ever. Keller noted that Dynamite, the show that aired an hour later than its usual time slot and went up against NXT on the CW, which had a 1-hour head start. NXT drew 874,000 viewers in its usual time slot. To put things in perspective, Keller pointed out that 1 year ago this week, Dynamite drew 609,000 viewers. This is a complete reversal of fortune for AEW, which dominated NXT when Vince McMahon decided to air NXT against Dynamite on Wednesdays. This led to AEW trouncing it regularly in the ratings. The difference is that AEW was playing on easy as Vince McMahon was still running the show, but now Shawn Michaels is in charge of NXT, a completely different ballgame. Well, what was the reaction to the ratings? Well, naturally the internet wrestling community chimed in on Dynamite's dismal ratings, not only pointing out how awful the ratings were, but to try and make sense of things. This tweet reflected fans' reaction to the ratings. Streets are saying WWE's developmental show absolutely dogwalked Dynamite. Sheesh. 879k, Dynamite 329k. It's getting spooky out here. Another X account tweeted, crazy AEW didn't even get a bump in the ratings until NXT went off the air. This could have gotten really ugly if they went head to head the entire 2 hours. That would have been less than 300k viewers. Dynamite's first hour, which featured promos from Jon Moxley, Bryan Danielson, Darby Allin and others, pulled in 450,000 viewers. Things plummeted there, with the highest quarter coming in at 296,000 viewers during the head to head with NXT. Now, of course, while it can be argued that 1 week isn't enough to make a case for or against AEW's performance, we believe it's a reminder of AEW's continued problems maintaining an audience, let alone competing in a head-to-head battle. What do you guys think of these ratings? Let us know in the comments down below. Next up is Jim Johnston coming back to WWE. Is the WWE dumping Def Rebel, the New York music production company that creates themes for the WWE's various stars since 2019? If so, this could lead to the return of former music maestro Jim Johnston, whose theme music through the years provided the soundtrack for many wrestlers that endure today. Def Rebel has been criticized for its below-average music, and now it looks like their time in WWE is coming to an end. Pro Wrestling Nexus is reporting, we've heard rumblings that Def Rebel will not have their contracts renewed when it ends. We're trying to reach out to figure out when that is exactly and to add more confirmation to this. This is not set as fact yet, and until further confirmation, take it as a grain of salt. This adds to the report by Corey, where WWE is looking to utilize more outside artists more and more. WrestleVote's Backstage Pass Q&A provided more information on the situation, saying, yeah, as far as I know these rumors are true, Def Rebel will be out. Unfortunately, Jim Johnston likely not coming back just because of the relationship and where they stand. I'd imagine in-house they'll hire someone with more experience, but no, it won't be Jim Johnston from everything I know. Despite the reports on Johnston not returning, wrestling fans know never say never when it comes to fractured relationships. At the very least, Jim Johnston deserves a Hall of Fame induction. The man made so many entrance themes, we can't even name them all in this video. Next up, Chris Jericho and MVP squash their beef. Now that MVP is all elite, what's the backstage situation between him and longtime AEW wrestler Chris Jericho? The two men have been involved in more than one public confrontation, apparently have patched things up, with Fightful Select reporting that's on MVP's first night on the job. He went directly to Chris Jericho's locker room. We weren't given any specifics on what was said there, but according to those in AEW, it was hashed out and won't be an issue moving forward. MVP was praised by numerous backstage for addressing the issue directly. AEW has a reputation for letting things get out of control in its locker room, and wrestlers have even come to blows on several occasions. It's good that MVP made an effort to resolve this, not only for business purposes, but to smooth things over with Jericho, who Fightful noted was formerly friends with MVP. The Patreon site also added, in addition, we're told that MVP and Jericho have been seen interacting backstage since then, including last week's Dynamite. Next up, RVD Working in WWE and AEW. Rob Van Dam has made several guest appearances in the ring for AEW, but how is that possible, as he's also signed to a WWE Legends deal? The whole effing show informed fans recently, the first time I talked to Tony Khan about doing this, working with AEW, a factor was that I still have a WWE Legends deal, so my use to AEW will be limited as far as they can put me on video games, action figures, stuff like that, and so you could say it's limited on both ends, or you could say I got both ends going, best of both worlds, or you could just say RVD does whatever he wants. Next up, sad news for an AEW wrestler. Now it looks like AEW's Luchasaurus won't be returning to the ring anytime soon. Despite previous reports that Luchasaurus was recovering well from a pneumonia diagnosis, Wrestling Observer Live's Brian Alvarez updated fans saying he's not back in the gym and he will not be back in the gym for a while, and he's not going to be back in wrestling, probably for a while, and hopefully he will be back wrestling in a while. He provided more details on Luchasaurus' condition, saying apparently there were complications. He ends up getting this flu and bad oxygen uptake as a result of whatever else turned into pneumonia, and apparently he's a high risk for a relapse. The big concern is after all of this, they've been running test after test, and apparently there may be permanent damage. Sadly, this permanent damage could lead to the end of the 39-year-old's wrestling career. They found calcification in a heart valve, and his body is not producing iron, so he's got a whole bunch of tests that he apparently has to take. It's bad. I don't want to say it's a career-ending issue, but it could be a career-ending issue. Wrestlers have been told their career was in jeopardy or even over, only to bounce back, but it's too early to tell what Luchasaurus' prognosis is, and the only thing that matters right now is that he gets well. We're sending our thoughts and prayers to Luchasaurus for a full recovery. Next up, the hurricane tears the roof off. The Hurricane Milton is affecting millions of people and causing incredible damage to people and property, including Tropicana Field, the location of the 2024 Royal Rumble. Inside the Ropes is reporting the high winds blew the roof off the building, and video footage captured the devastation. The report also noted that the hurricane led to WWE to postpone NXT live events. Whilst this is bad news, the real concern is for the individuals affected by the hurricane, and we're sending again our thoughts and prayers to everyone affected. Next up, good news for an NXT superstar. NXT superstar Javon Evans need not worry about his performance against Randy Orton on the 8th October NXT, at least according to Fightful Select, which is reporting Fightful Select has learned that there is no heat internally on Javon Evans from Mr. RKO's spot on last night's NXT. As we noted in our story about this yesterday, this is a much different and much kinder Randy Orton that we're seeing right now. Next up, Kurt Angle admits WWE buried him on purpose. The WWE Universe is still unsure what happened with Kurt Angle's second run in the WWE, but according to Angle, he feels like WWE wanted to teach him a lesson. The man who won an Olympic gold medal with a freaking broken neck talked to Not Sam Wrestling, sharing his thoughts on what happened. I love Baron Corbin, but I just felt that my second time in WWE, I wasn't so much appreciated. I think it has a lot to do with me leaving the company high and dry in 2006 and going straight to TNA. I was supposed to go back in WWE in 6 months. Vince McMahon wanted me to take 6 months off and come back. So literally when I left his office and I quit, I called TNA and I got a contract that day. I didn't wait a second. Angle speculated on why the WWE gave him a half-baked push when he returned to the company after leaving TNA. I knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go, and I think they were like, okay, well if he comes back, then we're going to teach him a little lesson, which is fine. I understood. I love my TNA run. I think I came into my own right around 2006 when I was having my best wrestling, and that's when I moved over to TNA. Now, the current regime might have a way to do something special with Kurt, as we'll see in our last story, as American Made gets a makeover. And last but not least, Chad Gable's faction American Made has got a big makeover, and Gable's ready to take his team to new heights. Gable, Ivy Nile, and the Creed brothers debuted their new outfits, which have a patriotic flair, with Gable proclaiming, "Wow, what a unit I've built. Going forward, I'm humbly accepting the responsibility of being the hero that is this country and the WWE have been asking for. With the weight of my nation on my shoulders, you're welcome." Rumor has it that WWE Hall of Famer Kurt Angle could return to WWE to manage them, and some fans think wrestling's Olympic hero is the ideal candidate to take Gable's faction right up to the top. Would you like to see that happen? Let us know in the comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.